No matter what email marketing software you're using, you're definitely falling into these traps when it comes to the metrics that they show you and the metrics that you're looking at when you're doing your email marketing, whether it's for your e-commerce brand or whatever it is. You need to look at the right metrics and extract the correct inferences from them, because if you do not do that, you will inevitably make the wrong decisions and this will hurt your revenue. So this is the top 5 most overrated metrics that you're most definitely looking at, but that you absolutely should not be looking at. So let's just get right into it. So the first metric is click rates. And I know this sounds like a complete surprise, and all of these metrics are going to be complete surprises to you because they're all pretty commonly used metrics, but the way that people use them is really bad, especially people who are beginners to email marketing and things like that. So when it comes to click rates, the problem is that they are different for every single account, every single niche, every single audience. And so it's like, even if you're able to get like really high or really low click rates, it doesn't exactly mean anything, because your click rates completely depend on your list and how old your list. Like if you have a bunch of old email subscribers and you're sending emails, so they're not even interested in your freaking product, then obviously your click rate is going to be low, because that's the kind of audience that you have. Or maybe you just have a niche where there's so much competition that people are getting a lot of emails from a lot of different brands. And so to spark that kind of interest in your particular brand is more difficult. And so it's like, you're comparing your click rates to other brands when what you should be doing is comparing your click rates to your click rates. Like compare your click rates this month or this week to the past month, the past week, right? And see whether or not your new strategies have improved or decreased the click rates. And a lot of times what happens is if you increase the number of emails that you're sending, obviously your click rate is going to go down, because now those clicks are now spread across various different campaigns. Your total number of clicks is going to go up, but your percentage click rate is going to go down. And so click rates are a relative thing that you should only be comparing to your own brand, not even people in your own industry, because like I said, it depends on the audience, it depends on the niche, depends on the products, things like that. So compare it to your own campaigns and your own flows and things like that, and don't compare the absolute click rate, percentage click rate numbers to other people, because it's completely meaningless. Now, click rates are still a good measure of general interest and engagement in your brand and in your products and in your email itself, the copy that you write, the designs, things like that. And so click rates are definitely an important metric, but they're so overhyped. Like people think that just because they got good click rates that the email was good. No, the only measure of whether or not the email was good is whether or not you got a lot of people buying things from your email, right? And that brings me to the second most overrated metric, which is placed order rate. Now, the reason I say, well, first of all, just to relate it to click rates, sometimes you're going to have low click rates and really high placed order rates. And you might say just because the click rates were low, that email was not really that good. No, but you got a lot of placed orders, so that email definitely was good. Something was good about the email. In the same way, you might have really high click rates and really low placed order rates. And so placed order rates do need to be the main measure of how well an email performed if your goal with that email was to sell your product, right? But the thing with placed order rates is that it is based on attributed revenue. And this is what a lot of email marketers like to fool brands about, and a lot of brand owners, by the way, do get fooled by it, because placed order rates are literally just attributed revenue. It's not the actual revenue that the email caused. It is the attributed revenue that Klaviyo thinks that email caused. And this is where I'm going to tell you that the Klaviyo numbers that you see, all the campaign numbers, the flow numbers, the attribute revenue number on the main dashboard, the actual revenue numbers that your emails are making is actually lower than what Klaviyo shows, because I don't even have time in this video to explain how much your attributed revenue is different from your real revenue. And so if you really want to see the true ROI of your email campaigns, go to the video link in the description and I will show you exactly what is happening. Go to the video link in the description and you will see exactly how to calculate. It's going to be a lot of manual work, but you'll be able to see how it is actually supposed to be done. You probably won't be able to do it, but it's a good way to understand the difference between your attributed revenue and your real revenue. So the next overrated metric is open rates. And I just went through the top 3 metrics that people look at, but open rates are definitely up there in being ultra overrated, because people think that just because they got like 60% open rates, that means that their email performed, that like 60% of their entire audience that was sent that email opened that email. But that's very rarely actually true. A lot of those opens are bot opens, or just devices like Apple, for example. A lot of iOS users will end up opening your emails because that's just how it is with iOS. Like the app itself opens your email for some reason, and the way the opener is calculated is by placing like a 1x1 pixel at the bottom of or at the top of your email. And as soon as someone opens that email, that pixel is downloaded, and that tells Klaviyo or your email marketing software that the email was opened. And now, because your users, your customer's device or app is also doing this, is also opening emails, that pixel just gets downloaded, and now Klaviyo thinks that the person opened the email, when in reality they did not open the email. The device opened the email, or the app opened the email. What you should be measuring even right now is your relative open rates, like how many, like let's say you got 10,000 opens in the last campaign and 11,000 opens in this particular email campaign, your latest email campaign. Well, and that means your latest email campaign is probably better than your previous campaign in terms of deliverability, or in terms of the subject line or preview text, right? And this is what you really should be measuring, like how, and like by deliverability, I also mean like, are they landing in the promotions folder or the primary folder, right? Those two are different, right? And so your open rate will differ based on how your deliverability is and your subject line, things like that. Now, if you want to increase your open rates with subject lines, I have a great video in the description that goes through all of the principles that go into creating an amazing subject line. I've never seen anyone talk about it, so I'm just going to leave that video link in the description if you want to check it out. So the next one is unsubscribe rates. And this is the one that is going to stress you out the most, at least if you're a brand owner, especially if you're a brand owner, because you might be attaching part of your identity to the brand, and the brand's emails are coming from the brand, and so you feel like people are unsubscribing to your emails, and that feels really bad. Or it might just feel like you're losing subscribers that would have bought from you. But the truth is, most of your unsubscribers were never going to buy from you in the first place. Like, the reason they unsubscribed is because they were either not interested in your product, or because they did not like your emails, or they just don't like emails in general, or that their problem or so their goal was accomplished, or their product problem was fixed, and now they do not need your product anymore. And so unsubscribe rates for the most part are just coming from people who would not have purchased from you in the first place. And so it's like you're stressing about actions from people who would not have given you money. And so the question is, do you really want to be making decisions based on people who are not going to give you money? Or do you want to be making decisions based on your actual customers and actual subscribers who are going to give you money? And so where I'm going with this is that a lot of people, when they see higher unsubscribe rates, they think that their email strategy is bad, even if they're doing everything properly, everything correctly. Obviously, if you're doing something badly, then your unsubscribe rates are going to increase. But if you're doing everything properly and you're still stressing out about your unsubscribers, you're going to end up making bad decisions about your email strategy, and that is in turn going to decrease your email revenue. Even if you managed to decrease your unsubscribe rates, you'll also end up decreasing your email revenue a lot of the times. And so you really need to just look at, are you making good money? And number two, are you doing anything that most obviously causes people to unsubscribe? And I might make a video on this in the future to see the best things you need to do, but the most important thing is to keep your emails relevant, and that means talking about the customers' products, problems and goals, and just don't use annoying marketing lingo in your emails, right? Like hurry and buy now, all of that is important at times, but most of the times people overuse it, and it causes people to get annoyed, and don't be too pushy is my point. So as long as you're doing things properly and you're making good money, you do not need to worry about your unsubscribe rate. So the last one is revenue per recipient, and you're gonna see this a lot in Klaviyo. Like, your revenue per recipient was like $0.02 and now it's like $0.03. I guess that's something to rejoice about, but really your revenue per recipient changes every single month, and based on your ads and your traffic that's coming to your website. I'm talking about the flows in this case, but even in your campaigns, new people are constantly coming into your campaigns. If your ads are down, something like that, the revenue per recipient is going to change. And like a difference of like that small of a difference, like if your revenue per recipient was like 0.07 and now it became 0.08, doesn't really mean that your emails have somehow gone better. The only measure of whether or not your emails have gotten better is, again, your placed order rate. And so I've personally never actually looked at the revenue per recipient ever. Like, it just doesn't make sense to be looking at your revenue per recipient. Are you making more or less money? That's what matters, right? So forget about the revenue per recipient. Just look at even your segment size, by the way, changes your revenue per recipient, because if you're sending to more people, the percentage of people actually making a purchase is going to go down, right? So stop worrying about your revenue per recipient, focus on the placed order rate, and you will make more money. And that's it. See you later.